Hello, good morning and welcome to Joe News Desk. Coming up, 10 killed in a gory accident at Savelugu, Zungu while returning from a funeral in the northern region. We'll hear from the police. Also, as residents of Appearta in the western region count their losses, we'll tell you about the man who lost his 21-year-old son, a 10-bedroom house and a pub. Details as residents continue to mourn his son, Justice Appearta, popularly known as Suarez, described as a servant of the community. Meanwhile, the Environmental Protection Agency and Forestry Commission has carried out an impact assessment on land and vegetation after the incident. What are the findings of that assessment? Chief Executive of the EPA is our guest for details. Also, Parliament resumes today, more as the House continues its deliberations on the controversial e-levy. Details of this and more all in this hour. My name is Mapito Sibidi. Stay with us. In our first story, at least 10 people have been confirmed dead after a Kia Rhino truck they were traveling on was involved in an accident at Savelugu in the northern region. The police say the truck was carrying over 33 mourners who were returning from a funeral. The Northern Region Crime Officer speaks for the police.
The 3rd of this month, that's January, at about 2:30 a.m., police received a distress call that 5 armed men, all dressed in military uniform, with guns, attacked and robbed occupants of a house at John Shegu, a suburb of Tamale. An unregistered silver-colored Toyota Camry saloon car, together with the documents, land title documents, iPhone, among other items, were taken at gunpoint. On receipt of the complaint, a combined team of the Regional Counter-Terrorism Unit, the Foreign Police Unit, and investigators from Tamale Regional Headquarters trailed the suspects to Sawaba barrier near Bupe in the Savannah region, and arrested all 5 suspects, namely Yusuf Mustafa, age 23 years, Ibrahim Yisa, age 27 years, Saram Ado, age 34 years, Ajay Benjamin, 23 years, and Vivor Christopher, age 27 years. On board the stolen car and another black Toyota Camry saloon car, also suspected to have been snatched. At the time of arrest, suspect Yusuf Mustafa was fully dressed in military uniform with the rank of a lance corporal and adorned with Army Headquarters lanyard and armed with a...
That was the Northern Regional Police Commander, COP Timothy Osobogo, who was telling us about another incident where 6 suspected car snatchers and robbers had been arrested in the northern region. The gang was arrested on 23rd January at Sawaba near Bupe in the Savannah region. The Northern Regional Police Commander, COP Timothy Osobogo, said the suspects attacked and robbed a house in a suburb of Tamale. He said their catch included an unregistered silver saloon car, land title documents, and other valuable items. Let's get further details on both developments from the Northern Region Crime Officer, Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga. Good morning, Superintendent, and many thanks for your time.
Good morning.
Now, let's talk about the accident. Have the dead been identified yet?
The accident?
The accident, yes.
Yes.
That killed at least 10 people.
Yes. The update is that we currently have about 13, three more dead. recorded from this, and making the number 13 as of yesterday evening.
And have...
we still have 6 of them at PTH who are still on admission, and then 4 at WB Hospital. 3 still on life support at the PTH Hospital.
If you can just raise your voice for me, I'm finding it difficult to hear you, but do you know what caused the accident?
Exactly so. As indicated earlier on, we gathered that this truck, Kia Rhino, was returning from a funeral. I was carrying about 33 persons on the bucket. On reaching a particular spot around Sabulego, after negotiating a curve, the driver spotted a cyclist on the road. And what we also obtained was that the cyclist was concentrating on his phone, lost, and then entered the road, which the driver, in an attempt to avoid knocking him, lost control of the steering wheel. The vehicle ran into a bush and finally somersaulted, resulting in that particular incident.
All right, now give us an update about the suspected robbers and the snatching syndicates.
Come again.
Can you please give us an update about the suspected robbers and the car snatching syndicates?
Oh, okay. What we have now is that the region has gone in the investigations, retrieved some arms. We have one G3. We have the pistol that was earlier on obtained from that location. And we are still looking for more arms, which one particular person was the supplier. And we believe that this particular person, whom we are now trailing, has a lot of arms which they supply to these criminals to carry out this business of robberies, among others that we are yet to determine. We also look at the other persons who are also giving information to some of these groups to continue these heinous crimes. And we want to ensure that all those that we are pursuing are arrested and brought to book. We are also on the heels of other persons which we believe are somewhere else. Those have formed out some squads. It's not only this particular group, but there are other groups which we are looking at to getting them arrested.
All right, so the gang that was arrested on the 23rd of January consists of how many people?
Come again.
The gang that was arrested on the 23rd of January consists of how many people?
Initially, we had about 5. Subsequently, we made other arrests that also included a teacher of a particular school and one other person whom we did not make. And then we are also trying to get them to make the number about 7. I think we are hoping to get other information about them. We have details about those people that we will soon get them published.
Okay, and then the ones that are arrested, where are they and when will they be processed for court?
They are currently in custody and they are to be remanded so that we continue our investigations. We believe that the courts will give us more time, ample time to trace other persons to get them arrested.
All right, these other persons that you're chasing, how many are they?
I think the number will maybe somehow equally about 5 that we think we are looking at.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. That is Northern Region Crime Officer Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga giving us an update on that situation in the Northern Region. Now let's go to the Western Region, where last week Thursday an explosion at Appearta in that region killed his 21-year-old son, Justice Appearta. It also destroyed his 10-bedroom house and his pub. That is the story of a 60-year-old miner, Joseph Appearta, who says he had wished death upon himself after the explosion that devastated and wiped out his entire village. Max Wababa went to meet him and has come through with this report.
It's about Wednesday.
I have met Joseph Appearta at the new shelter where the displaced persons will be resettled. There's a meeting underway about 150 meters away from where we are standing. A new committee that has been formed is discussing the resettlement plan. Joseph is a member of that committee, but has agreed to talk to me about his misfortune. He says his 21-year-old son, Justice Appearta, had taken his mother and siblings to safety before moving close to the burning explosive van to take pictures.
I have so many things, drinking spot, 5 rooms, and then the new house.
Okay.
Store and other stuff.
What kind of child was he? I'm sure you loved him as a child. The community actually liked him. Like the whole community mentions his name, Suarez.
Yeah. He's free like they were.
Yeah.
He's free. That is why people keeps on mentioning his name. Yeah.
Joseph Appearta says he lost his 10-bedroom house and a pub to the explosion.
And then my new house is 10-bedroom self-contained.
10-bedroom?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom.
10-bedroom?
Yeah.
So that's been completely destroyed or what?
Destroyed.
Wow.
The grass, people came and then fixed the grasses. 3 days after this incident happened. Wow. I can surely send you all the pictures.
Yeah. So you've lost a 10-bedroom house.
Yeah.
What else did you lose? Your drinking spot?
Yeah, the drinking spot, and then the store, and then that 5 bedrooms. And then the new house.
Yeah.
I've done the POP, everything. Window, sliding windows. I've fixed everything, and it has got spoiled. When I came to the scene,
yeah,
I said to a lot of people that I wish I would have died. Yeah, because it wasn't easy for me at that particular moment.
Yeah.
But currently, I'm managing. I went to Kumasi. I've bought China doors. Yeah, I said I will fix China doors throughout, and then the washroom is China, that glass door.
Yeah.
So I have it in my sister's house.
Yeah.
So when this issue happened,
Yeah.
I said to myself, currently, where am I going to send these items to? So right as I speak to you, I'm managing some corner.
Meanwhile, the Environmental Protection Agency and the Forestry Commission have carried an environmental impact assessment. The objective was to investigate the quality of air, flora and fauna, as well as the surface and groundwater resources following the incident. What are the findings? Any damage caused to the environment as a result of the explosion? Chief Executive of the EPA, Henry Kwabena Kokofu, joins us via Zoom with more. Good morning, sir, and thanks for your time. Hi, sir, if you can hear me, good morning, and thank you so much for your time. While we're still trying to establish contact with Mr. Kokofu, let us hear him when he visited the incident site.
The calamity so the vice president, by the president's instruction, came here last week and saw things for himself. And they promised me, or they pledged me, that this place needs to be repaired. Town has to be repaired. And going forward, we at Environmental Protection Agency, having gone around, made observations and then taking samples, water samples from the riverine, and then also in the borehole, taking samples of the vegetation and observing the animal population. We are going back to
the laboratories to come up with our results. But the good thing is, casual observation points to all possibilities that the place can be rehabilitated and then habitated. So without wasting time, you release the results of our investigation. In the meantime, we've asked the MCE and its office to make a request to Environmental Protection Agency seeking environmental permit for reconstruction or, if you like, rebuilding this community, which we are so much happy and glad to positively and favorably respond to.
Chief Executive of the EPA, Henry Kwabena joins me via phone behind that, on the back of that. Now, good morning, sir, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, good morning, my dear.
Now, let's understand the significance of this assessment first.
Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. As part of our responsibility and mandate, Environmental Protection Agency had to be on the accident site. Proud to our visit yesterday, we had our experts dispatched with logistics and equipment to go and monitor the air quality, monitor the plants and animals, that's flora and fauna, and then also water resource, running water, that's surface water, and underground water.
Okay.
So we've been able to get samples of all these. Further on, we needed to be on the ground to interact with the Municipal Security Council, headed by the Chief Executive, to know what plans have been put in place to make life a bit easier for those who have been displaced. More so, people going to the site needed to be controlled. The security agencies are there to protect life and property.
Yeah.
So, for clear environmental hazard reasons, we also needed to be there to ask people not to frequent the place, particularly those that are so badly damaged have become trapped. In the presence of all that, we had discussions with the municipality, and we granted environmental permit for the demolitions to be undertaken. That is, those weak structures have to be brought down. Today and tomorrow, by close of tomorrow, we are done with our report, and surely we will be issuing environmental permit for construction or reconstruction of the place to the regional minister and then federal to the municipality. So by and large, our preliminary investigations show that the place is habitable.
Okay, okay.
Now. The air quality is to be standard. We checked on the animal populations there, their integrity, the status, and we think we are convinced that they are okay. The plant is also okay. What is left is with the water bodies. So, like I said earlier on, within, by close of day or tomorrow, we'd have gotten the result, and we keep the go ahead. Having said all this, we are looking at long-term effects as well. So we will continue to monitor, see if there will be some form of impact and hazard going forward.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to advise the authorities what to do and what not to do. But for now, we can be rest assured that on the side of the Environmental Protection Agency, the place is quite habitable. We can reconstruct the town again.
And how soon can residents go back to the community to start rebuilding?
May you come again, lady?
How soon can residents go back into the community?
We have done our bit of giving
the municipality to go ahead to do the demolition.
Okay.
We will continue with the permit to go in for the reconstruction. The implementation of rehabilitation, relocation, and all that are within the mandate of the municipality through a committee. So we wouldn't be able to tell that tomorrow, next week, or a month or so, the inhabitants may go in there. But by and large, our report indicates that the place is habitable, except that the debris and the damaged structure need to be looked at, cooled down, and then cleared to avoid any more catastrophic.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. That is Chief Executive of the EPA, Henry Kobana Kokofu. Now, let's go to Parliament, where the controversial Electronic Transactions Levy, e-levy, high on the agenda of the Akufo-Addo-led government, is missing from the order paper of Parliament as the House resumes from its month-long recess today. This follows an earlier indication by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta that the bill, which will impose a 1.75% charge on mobile money transactions that are more than 100 Ghana cedis will be brought back to Parliament for further deliberations when the House reconvenes. Parker is my man on the ground. Parker, do we know why the e-levy is missing on the agenda for today? Parker, if you can hear me, Parker's live from Parliament. Do we know why the e-levy is missing on the agenda for today? All right, it seems like we have lost Parker, but he is at Parliament, and a lot of people were anticipating and were waiting for Parliament to reconvene so that we can hear the discussions and the deliberations on the e-levy. We'll go back to Parliament to my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson after this break. You're welcome back. Now let's go back to Parliament. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson is there, as we know that the House reconvenes today. Parker, do we know why the e-levy is missing on the agenda for today?
Well, Maps, first of all, Parliament works with rules and procedures. And as part of their procedure, the Business Committee of the House meet to consider the activities for every other week. So for this week, for example, yesterday, we are learning that the Business Committee held a meeting, and per their meeting, they agreed that they were not going to put the e-levy as part of the activities to be handled for this particular week. Now, the question is why? I have been doing some digging, and my sources tell me that government would want to further consult other individuals before they bring back the e-levy. And that is why today on the order paper, we do not have the e-levy featuring in there. But Maps, one interesting thing is happening right now in Parliament, and let me take you there briefly to the entrance of Parliament, where the group Justice for Ghana have picketed here. And of course, the one leading or the convener of this group is Mr. Bernard Mona. Honorable, thank you very much for your time this morning. Now, briefly, what are you doing here? The gates are locked. You've been asked to stay outside. What's happening?
I have not achieved the title honorable yet, so I'm not an honorable. Well, as you are aware, we were told before Parliament went on recess that the first thing that they would come and do was to come and debate and probably reject or approve the e-levy. We earlier on had indicated our objection and rejection of the e-levy and said that this was more like a pickpocket tax because it is not a tax in reality because we tax profit. We tax return. We don't tax working capital. But in this instance, it appears that working capital is the one that government wants to take away, and it's almost like pickpocketing the citizens of our nation. That is why I call it pickpocketing, a pickpocketing transaction tax. So we have come here this morning. We have indicated to the Ghana police that we are coming to occupy Parliament today, tomorrow, and tomorrow next. We have indicated to the leadership of Parliament that at the end of our picket, we'll be submitting a petition to them. And when we got here, Parliament gates had been locked. the police have decided that we will not enter parliament. Yet our notification to them was that we are coming to occupy parliament.
But you're coming to occupy because of the e-levy. The e-levy is not an agenda. Just go home, this picketing is needless, unnecessary.
The posturing of President Akufo-Addo and his government. We cannot trust them any longer because they can come under certificate of urgency even in the late hours of parliamentary sitting today and want to roll through this process. We have seen it before. And so because of that, because of the fact that citizens have lost confidence in our government and its pronouncement, we cannot take what Parliament has pronounced as the order paper as what is going to be, because as they say, Parliament is the master of its own rules. So if they come and say that, well, we are the masters of our own rules, we have changed, and that we want to amend the order paper by bringing something that we consider more urgent.
That's my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, with Bernard Mona at Parliament. But let's take you live to the Lands Ministry now, where the Minister is launching a relief fund for victims of the Appearta explosion.
To this end, His Excellency the President has instructed our Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abu-Jinapor, to set up an Appearta support fund under the auspices of the ministry. This fund, however, is to be managed independently by men and women of stature and of repute. The Honorable Minister will swear in members of the Fund Management Board this morning and spell out clearly the terms of reference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is for this reason we have invited you here this morning. We welcome you and we thank you for coming. God richly bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Professor Patrick Agbetinyale, Chief Director, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, will pretty soon be joined by the Deputy Minister of Information, Madam Fatia Abubakar. Honorable Sector Minister, respectfully will now call on you to deliver your statement and launch the fund. The Honorable Samuel A. Jinapor. Shall we please give it up to him?
The Honorable Western Regional Minister, Deputy Ministers for Lands and Natural Resources, my Lord, our revered man of God, Nana, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we are all very much aware, on Thursday, January 20th, 2022, a tragic event befell our nation. A truck carrying explosives from the site of Maxam Ghana Limited to Chirano Gold Mines Limited was unfortunately involved in a very horrific incident, leading to an explosion which caused severe damage to the people of Appearta community, which resulted in the loss of some 13 lives. Ghanaians have always been known to be hospitable and compassionate, and we cannot ignore our own people who fell victim of this unfortunate incident. Ladies and gentlemen, on the instructions of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has decided to launch, quote, the Appearta Support Fund, end quote, to raise funds from the general public to, among others, support the victims of this unfortunate incident and to reconstruct the community which was brought down by the explosion. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure fair, transparent and judicious use of the fund, government has decided to appoint a 5-member committee to manage the fund. The committee will be chaired by Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, a distinguished and eminent stateswoman who is the founder of the Salt and Light Ministries, and who has previously served as Minister for Information, Minister for Education, Minister for Local Government, and Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and who, as a result of her exemplary service to our motherland, was awarded a Companion of the Order of the Volta in 2006 by the then President of the Republic, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor. A woman of enormous integrity, this is the woman government has settled on to chair this important committee. Thank you, Madam, for accepting this other onerous national assignment. Ladies and gentlemen, the 4 other members of the committee are Tetrek Okuamua Sechi II, Omanhene of Wasa Amenfi Traditional Area, a renowned traditional ruler and chairman of the Forestry Commission. Mr. Philip Owuredu, a certified chartered accountant, managing director of Calbank, and formerly of the renowned accounting firm KPMG, is a member. Dr. Antoinette Chibudako, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana and research fellow at the Center for Social Policy Studies, an expert in natural resource management and development and natural resources. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, my very good friend, Mr. Suleiman Akoni, who hopefully will be the biggest donor to the fund, is also a member. Ladies and gentlemen, these are renowned persons without a shred of doubt in their various fields who have been brought together by government to manage this fund. Their terms of reference are: 1, to raise sufficient funds for the Appearta Support Fund, and 2, to supervise the disbursement of the fund in accordance with the highest standards of integrity and transparency for the sole benefit of the people of Appearta. That given the caliber of the citizens assembled, they will execute this task in a fair, transparent, and prudent manner. I passionately and respectfully call on all Ghanaians and residents of Ghana and friends of Ghana, companies, civil society organizations, and all and sundry to generously contribute to this noble endeavor. The Holy Book in Psalm 41 verse 1 tells us, and I quote, "Blessed are those who support the weak. The Lord delivers them in times of trouble," end quote. To the people of Appearta, I say to them, a compassionate nation and government stands by you, shoulder to shoulder, in your time of great need and adversity. For above all, we are one nation with a common destiny. On this note, it is my singular privilege and honor, on behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to launch the Appearta Support Fund. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, our very active and able sector minister. We will now respectfully call on the chair to give us her remarks.
Honorable Minister, Deputy Ministers, Western Regional Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I stand on the protocols already mentioned. And on behalf of the 5-member committee, I would first like to thank His Excellency the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, for considering us useful to undertake this very onerous task. We feel very privileged to be called to serve the nation at this very crucial time of its need. Each of us comes with some level of expertise, and together our prayer is that God would bind us together and give us a singular mind to undertake this task. It is onerous, but nothing is impossible for God.
Absolutely.
And so on behalf of my colleagues, I say we accept this honor, we accept this privilege, and we ask for your support, especially members of the media. We ask for your support. I'm glad that my presiding bishop is here. We also ask for prayer support. And we ask that the reasons why this fund has been set up would be fully realized. And the people of Appearta will know that we live in a nation that is compassionate, under a government that cares deeply for every single person in this nation. And I know that within a short time, we will see great things happening. We want to thank you very much. On behalf of my members, we thank you very much for this privilege. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi. We will take this opportunity, I will take this opportunity to introduce the Honorable Deputy Minister for Information, Honorable Fatia Abubakar. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Ben Ayi, he's the advisor on mines to the sector minister. Mr. Ben Ayi, please. Also, Mr. Ben Ayi is the technical director for mines. Mr. Pitewa, if we're here. So is the technical director for forestry, Mr. Joseph Osiakwai. Thank you very much. Reverend Dr. Ayi called for prayer for a nation, and Honorable Minister, respectfully, at this juncture, we'll call on the Reverend, very Reverend, to again grant us a prayer for the nation and for the committee. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, prayer for the victims, the committee.
Just gone by was the launch of the committee for the Appearta explosion for the funds and Lands and Natural Resource Minister Abuja Napo, and they said that government has decided to appoint a 5-member committee, which is chaired by Dr. Joyce Ayi, to ensure judicious use of the fund. You're still watching Joy News Desk. Up next. And in business, without the implementation of the electronic transaction levy or e-levy to show up revenue and improve the physical economy, the country's international bonds will continue to attract high interest rates, which will trigger increased interest payments and devastating effects on the economy. That's the view of an economist and senior lecturer at the economics department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Edu Sarkodie. He's therefore urging all and sundry to support the government to implement the e-levy and raise enough revenue to improve the physical economy. He spoke to Joy Business.
The arguments are just emotional. They are sentiments. Most of them are just playing to the gallery. Let us have intellectual discourse over this e-levy transaction. I support it. If you are talking about the fact that government should be prudent in its management, I agree. Not only respect to the mobile money, but respect to any other revenue that has been raised in the economy. Prudent management of the economy is an important ingredient. We cannot go beyond that. What are the other sources of raising revenue? If I look at all the other sources of raising revenue, none of them can happen within this short time, like in 3 to 6 months. None of them. I can see property rates giving us 7 billion in like 1 year. I cannot see tax exemptions, which I am not saying that I am against all these sources of revenue. I am in support of the other sources of revenue. But the point I'm making is that in the immediate term, these other sources of revenue will not give us the revenue that government is looking for. It will take time. I can't see tax exemptions, property rate, the natural resources giving us 7 billion over in the next 1 year. All this will take time. If government doesn't take the e-levy, what are the consequences? The consequences are that, based on the Fish and Bloomberg ratings, government will be denied access to the international capital market. The option is that government will have to come domestically and borrow here at a high rate and crowd out the private sector who need the funds for industrial revolution, for industrial growth. The second option is for government to seek bilateral, multilateral, or syndicated loans. And as of now, many countries are also in difficulties, so I don't see that option viable. The next option, which many people don't want to talk about, is the IMF program. And we all know that borrowing from IMF is different from seeking an IMF program.
In other news, the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry has indicated that the trades and business community was not involved in any broader consultation on the 1.75% e-levy as stated by the Finance Minister. A press statement just released and signed by President of the Chamber, Clement Osei-Mwako, says they are concerned that the burden sharing and consultation was done without representation from trade and business associations whose constituents will be greatly affected by this policy. At the onset of the policy announcement, the GNCCI called on government to reconsider the rate of the 1.75% as it will further worsen the plight of businesses, particularly SMEs, who are mainly growth-driven, 3 out of 4 SMEs, and susceptible to firm-specific risk, industry volatility, and economic cycles. That's it for business. It's time for sports with my favorite person, Muftau. Muftau, what's happening? I like the color of your suit.
Thank you.
Yeah. What color is it?
I like your shirt too. Yours and mine are almost of the same color.
No, they're not. What is
I
the
said they
color?
are almost of the same color.
They are not even almost. They're not even on the same side of the color wheel. What is the color of your shirt? Of your suit?
Looks like it is brown.
And that's why you are a sports presenter and not a color technician. Yes, what do we have today?
Well, quite a side story to tell, because a game of passion, a game of emotions, a game that millions continue to follow day in and out. Unfortunately, some left their homes yesterday saying that they were going to the stadium to watch football, a sport they so adore. Unfortunately, whatever message they left with their families was the last message they left, because they got to the stadium and never went back home. Unfortunately, 8 people perished when Comoros played Cameroon in the round of 16 game in the African Cup of Nations. Thousands of people were in that stadium. About 56,000 people got access into the stadium. And unfortunately, there was a stampede outside the stadium, and 8 people died. That was the official report from the health ministry in Cameroon this morning. Dozens are injured. They are yet to give a specific figure on how many got injured. The interesting thing is that a 60-year-old boy was part of the crowd, the stampede. He was stepped on, he died. There was also a magistrate who was part of the people who died, and what a sad story.
Do we know why the stampede happened? Because I mean, we're literally almost at the end of the tournament.
Yes.
What happened?
Okay, so they actually wanted to have access into the stadium. Prior to the start of the tournament, CAF had decided that the home team would have at least 80% capacity of the venues covered.
Okay.
While the away teams would have like 60%. So thousands had gotten to the stadium and the place was already full.
Okay.
So security did not allow them access.
Okay.
So they overpowered the security and broke through. But unfortunately, when the stampede happened, some of them had to fly over walls and all that. That was quite terrible pictures to see. As they are on our screens right now, you can see that gentleman climbing. It was quite unfortunate. they broke through, they overpowered the security, and it was the security who had to make sure they saved their lives once again. These are not scenes that that's an ambulance carrying people into health centers. It's not a good sight for the African Cup of Nations, considering the negativity that has surrounded this tournament prior to kickoff. No one would have wished to be telling such stories. It reminds me of May 9, where about 127 football fans lost their lives at the Accra Sports Stadium. Stampede should never be something that should be happening at football venues, because it's a game you love.
Yeah.
You don't leave home with a message that I'm going to watch football, and that will be the last message you ever want to leave with your parents. It's quite unfortunate, or your loved ones. It's quite unfortunate what transpired at the Olympic Stadium yesterday. All
right, on that sad note, that's where we end Joy News Desk. For more news, you can log into myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapito CBD.